Hey guys, so this is the second step in making our macarons. So in this video we're going to be making the shells, and we're going to be making the Italian meringue for our shells and everything. So this is step 2 in making our macarons. So the first thing you're going to need here is I've got a sifter, I've got some bowls, I've got a pan, and I've got a mixer, but we'll get to that later. Right now we're going to focus on the paste. So the first thing you need into making your paste is you need 55 grams of powdered sugar, 55 grams of almond powder or almond flour, and 3.3 grams of cocoa powder, which is optional, but I'm going to add that since we have a coffee ganache, and I think chocolate and coffee kind of go good together. And then we have our 17 grams of egg whites. So we're just going to set those aside because right now we're working with our dry ingredients. So we're focusing on the main ingredients here, and we're just going to pour these into a bowl because we really want to mix them together before we sift them. We want them to incorporate well. Next, we're going to add in our almond flour. Sometimes you have to give the bowl a little pat there. And our 3.3 grams of cocoa powder. Okay, perfect. So now we're just going to whisk these together. Perfect. So now we're going to pour this into a bowl. Okay, so we have all the ingredients into our bowl now. So right now the step is to sift the ingredients into our sifter and put them into our bowl to make sure that they're really fine. So let's take our bowl, another bowl, and we're just gonna slowly pour this into our sifter to make sure that it all gets sifted. So we're just beginning to sift. And sift close to the bowl because we don't really like flour explosions or anything. Okay, so now we're going to sift it twice. It's also going to be easier to sift this time because there's not as many clumps as there was last time. Okay, so as you can see, we have it all sifted in, and that just looks beautiful because you can see the consistency is real fine and there's no clumps. So that's what you want it to look like. No clumps, real fine, very, very sifted. We're going to use our bowl scraper, and we're just going to kind of mix it together, and we're going to make a little well. So you can see a little well. Just make a little well, and we're going to be adding our 17 grams of egg whites, and you're just going to pour that in the middle. Now the secret to this is fold, press, turn. So we're going to take our bowl scraper and we're fold, press, turn. Fold, press, turn. Fold, press, turn. Fold, press, turn, fold, press, turn. It doesn't look like it's going to come together now, but trust me, it will. This part's a little difficult. Turn and fold, press, turn. We're really smearing it. So fold, press, smear, or fold, press, turn. Either one. I still see a little dry ingredients, but you really don't want to overmix it because if you do, it's not going to turn out right. Okay, so it's starting to come together really nicely, and I'm not really seeing hardly any dry ingredients, so about do 3 more here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, looks like we have it mixed good, so we're just gonna take our saran wrap over here that we have to the side, and we're gonna cover it up. Because if we don't cover up, then this paste has the ability to make a crust on the top, because it's gonna be a little bit to get our meringue over here fixed. So we're just going to coat it in some saran wrap so it doesn't have a crust, and we're just going to set it aside. Okay, so we're done over here with our paste for our macarons, and now we're moving on to our Italian meringue so later we can fold it into our paste. So I have 120 grams of white fine sugar, and we're just going to pour that into the bottom of our pan. Okay. And we have our 40 grams of just plain water. Okay, so you can't just leave it at this. We want to make sure that you see all of the sugar gets coated into the water because we don't want to burn any of our sugar. We're just going to whisk this up. Okay. So we have our sugar in our pan ready to go. We're just prepping that, but now we're going to focus on our 55 grams of egg whites, and we're going to be adding that into our stand mixer because we're going to be doing this at the same time. So we're really going to be doing some multitasking, but this is going to be starting at the same time so that they get done at the same time and that this rises to the nice soft peaks that it needs to. So just go ahead and add this in there. And we're going to lift this up, and you're going to be wanting to mix this on your highest speed. Okay, so we're gonna let that mix, and we're gonna come over to the stove over here quickly. Okay, so we're waiting until our sugar gets to 240. As you can see, it's at 230, 229 right now. It's getting ready to turn to 230. So it's almost there. Okay, so we're just mixing it with this because we're going to show you guys at home that it can work with this too. We've got our syrup and we're going to be pouring it into our meringue. Made our meringue, Italian meringue. We've made our candy syrup and we've poured it into here. Now we're just measuring it and we're going to use 1/3 of it. So it's about 150 grams, all the meringue. So we're going to take this off and we're going to zero out our bowl. And we're going to put about 50 grams. So we have that, so we're going to set that aside. So let's take off this, and as you can see, this has kept it from crusting around the edges. You can still see it's nice and soft to the texture on the edges, so that's good. Okay, so this right here, we're just going to use 1/3 of it first to loosen up the paste, and this is going to be the more difficult part of it. We're just taking 1/3 of it just to loosen it up. And we're just going to put that in there, and we're going to mix it up first, and then we'll go in and mix that second. So it's the same thing as full press turn. So we're folding it, pressing it, turning. Fold, press, turn, fold, press, turn, fold, press, turn. It's turning out beautiful. All right, so you can see that it's pretty much all covered up all the meringue. You can't see anymore. So now we're just gonna add our second helping of meringue. So we're just gonna take our spatula, get it all. Don't want to leave any meringue out. Just gonna set that aside, and now we're gonna do this exact same thing. It's fold, press, turn. Press, turn, fold, press, turn, 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 turn. Okay, so that should be plenty. Okay guys, so here's our lava test. You're just going to take it all up to the edge of the bowl, and we're just going to let it run down. And that seems pretty good. The consistency and how fast it's going seems perfect. Okay, so we've got a little icing baggie here, and we've just got kind of like a little round tip in it. And we're going to be putting it in the cup and putting the batter in it. But first, I'm going to show you guys just a little trick so our batter doesn't come out while we have it in the cup. You're going to take some of the baggie, and you're gonna put it into the icing tip, so it's like a little lock, so it doesn't like have any of the batter come out. And now we're just gonna take it, and we're gonna fold our baggie over, and we're just gonna put it in the cup, and we're gonna be having our batter and put it in there. And go wrong. Okay, so it's our batter, and we're just gonna take it and put it in there. Chocolate and coffee go really great together. It's going to turn out really good. Okay. And we're making a small batch of cookies. So set our bowl aside, hand forward, and this has a baking mat sheet on it, so the macaroons don't stick. And don't worry about preheating your oven at this point because we're gonna have to let our macaroons dry, because depending on how humid it is wherever you are, it depends how long we have to dry. They're probably gonna have to dry about an hour to even 2 hours or an hour and a half, just depending. So once you have all your batter into your icing bag, you're just gonna pop it like that. So it comes unlocked, so you have freedom to pipe, and we're going to push all of it down until you can see it coming sort of out of the tip. And you're just gonna twist it twice, and you're just gonna hold it into your palm. And if you want to have more room, you can twist it. You can twist the baggie around your finger. And so now we're just gonna start piping. Okay, so hold into your palm tightly, and we're just gonna do this. You're gonna hold them about an inch apart. Okay, so we have all of our cookies piped out, and now we're just gonna kind of beat the pan on the bottom to make sure that they're kind of loosen and stay flat, and so we have no air bubbles. So now I'm just gonna let all my cookies dry for about an hour, and so whenever I touch them, I have no sticky batter on my finger. So we're just gonna let it dry for about an hour, hour and a half, maybe 45 minutes, just depending on the climate outside. But we're just gonna set them aside, and once they're dry, we can put them in the oven for about 10 minutes at 350 or 300, depending on your oven. And then we'll take them out, and we'll put the ganache on. Okay guys, so they've been sitting for about an hour, and we have the oven, if you haven't already, preheat it to 300. And I'm preheating mine to 325 because it's not a convection oven. So if it's not convection, I strongly encourage you to preheat your oven to 325. Okay, we're gonna put them in for about 10 minutes. Okay, so our cookies are done. We left them in there for about 12 minutes. 10 to 13 minutes is usually the preference of how long they will be in there. So we're gonna let these cool for about 5 minutes, and then we'll get back and put some ganache on them. Alright guys, so we've let our macarons cool, and I just have my ganache set out to the side. I've let it come a little bit more to room temperature. It's still a little cool, but it's gonna work perfect to put on top of our macarons. So we're going to take a little offset, icing knife, and I'm just going to go across the bottom of macaroons very nicely so that they just come off just like that. See? And we're just going to set those aside. Okay, so. And then we'll start doing the ganache. Alright guys, so I found Paris for all my macaroons, and now we're just going to take our icing bath that we had our ganache in, and we're just going to cut off the tip, and we're going to fill it about 1/3 of the way. And you want to make sure that you hold onto the macaron so that it doesn't go anywhere. Alright, so after we finish putting our icing, now what we're going to do is you're going to take the very top of it, and you're going to smash it to where you can kind of see the ganache, and it becomes like a little cookie, like that. Alright guys, now we have our coffee macarons.